Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of What's Up Mainframe. I always say that it's exciting, but I'm kind of overjoyed to share a new member of the Prague office, a very important person to Broadcom Mainframe Software Division. We have a new Chief Technical Officer, Namik Hrle. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Zach.
Who has a storied background, is well known in the industry. There are a million things I could ask you.
Oh, okay.
But I want to start actually with, technology is always evolving, but what a time to become a CTO.
It is. It is. Scary time.
I was going to say, obviously coming into Broadcom, coming into any new company can be daunting, but no doubt coming into the CTO role. So what has it been like for you it's been about 4 months?
It's actually 3 months.
3 months. Oh, okay. It's 3 months.
3 months.
Okay.
Well, it's been actually, first of all, the most important thing I would say that, my experience here in Broadcom was excellent.
Okay.
Absolutely excellent. And, most of that thanks to really people. People, my colleagues here in Prague, but also, the management line.
Yes.
But also my team, reporting to me, the team in the field that I work a lot because I'm not only the engineering CTO, but I'm also the field CTO, which means, lots of engagements in the field with the customers and everything else. So I really, I don't know, I wouldn't say, I didn't expect or something like that, but I didn't expect to that extent that kind of welcoming, I would say, atmosphere and an approach and everything else. So from that perspective, it's beautiful. And by the way, that's the most important.
Well, right? Of course, yeah.
Plus, something that I always knew, which is that Broadcom itself has a special focus on mainframe.
Yes.
Where mainframe is really the main player. And it's nice to be in the main player role.
Certainly.
Okay? In terms of the investment, in terms of the focus, in terms of the customer focus and everything else. And that's all true, right? Plus what you just said, what a time to get in, because looks like almost perfect storm of the trends.
No kidding.
In the security, in a quantum, in
the further development of AI.
AI. I mean, it's just an unbelievable time to be there.
And obviously, in the past, you held VP role at IBM. You were focused on AI and data. So
Correct.
That was, you were very much in that early stages. Mm-hmm. Now we're in a landscape with these frontier models. There are many more security concerns than ever before. How do you think, or obviously we are dealing with things within Broadcom. You're learning things from customers. What do you have to say about where we are, especially with regard to the frontier models and these security aspects?
Okay, where to start?
Yeah, I know.
Let's start with something which is probably dominating the agenda right now, and that's security.
Yes.
So as we know very well, these LLMs have a very wide usage kind of spectrum. And one of them that just recently came into the spotlight is using the LLM for basically detecting security vulnerabilities. Mm-hmm. But you always have the opposite side of that. It's not only detecting, but you can also creating and exploiting the security vulnerabilities.
Of course.
The trigger was certainly, and that's known in industry, right? The Anthropic Claude Mythos model.
Yep.
Which is specifically designed for that purpose. Mm-hmm. And it has been showing some phenomenal results, really some kind of jaw-dropping results in terms of finding the vulnerabilities and everything else.
Certainly.
Anthropic didn't really release Mythos out of fear of misusing them, and absolutely it could be misused.
Yes.
Now, how that will develop, I don't know. That's really up to them. But what we have, and what has been also known in industry, is that Broadcom, with some other small number of companies, have been actually given very early access to Mythos.
Yes.
To test and to see what it means, and so on and so on. Now, we are under NDA, and we cannot talk about results and our findings and anything else like that. But what we can say is that that made us also have a special focus on already existing security scans that we've been doing, by the way, without Mythos or anything else. Okay?
Exactly.
But kind of made us think about that. Okay, let's have a look at that even closer. Let's have even more kind of due diligence about that one.
Certainly.
And then what came out of all that stuff is finding that it's a new world when it comes to the security. And number one, our customers, our advice to our customers is to be much more agile in terms of applying security fixes, and even at the cost of increased administrative effort,
yes,
which is always related to that, even at the cost of some kind of risk of disruption, which is always related when you have some kind of updates, not all updates, of course, but there are some updates that potentially create some kind of disruption.
Of course.
But even that is not worth trading off against the risk of not applying fixes as fast as possible as we are delivering them, and not only we, but customers and
all the vendors.
Everybody who is going to do that. So that's basically what is happening in this AI security space. It's a brand new kind of focus.
It is, because we've always been security focused, but it's been a balancing act. Yes, we needed to make some security updates, but we need to get some new features out. We need to balance, other requests coming from customers. But now, knowing what we know and how we're going forward, security is going to edge up.
Absolutely.
We're changing our backlogs, our plans a little bit.
Correct.
And
rightfully, by the way.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And when we talk to the customers and we tell them that this is our priority number one, they always say, yes,
yep,
that should be your priority number one.
Exactly.
And then we say, okay, but we also have something that we would like you to be priority number one, which is to apply these things.
Exactly. And I mean, coming from product management, at first I was a little sheepish. I didn't really want to say we're not moving as quickly forward on some of the new stuff because of the security. But as we've learned more, it's like, no. It's much easier to say, look, we have to prioritize these security things as you do.
Right, same.
And then we'll have a better foundation upon which to build in the future.
Correct, absolutely correct. But at the same time, we have to say that AI is not only security. It's not just only security. It is many, many other things. And this is definitely technology that defines another inflection point in IT, like internet, to name one, right?
Yep.
And at the same time, what we can see, and by the way, what everybody sees, I really like to quote this latest Anthropic report about usage of AI, actual use of AI, potential versus use. And it's eye-opening because the use is just a fraction, still absolutely small fraction of what can be actually done. And that tells me that, of course, there is a huge opportunity to get into and to help customers identify proper use cases that basically are going to have a clear return on investment, because this is one of the points that they are actually struggling with. What is that? But not only that, also the issues with privacy and governance and lock-in, and let's say cost. Well, this is coming up more and more because the companies that have been spending billions and billions of dollars on building these models need to somehow, get the return on investment.
Get a return and rein it in.
And I'm not sure, I still didn't figure out who is going to pay, but I have a suspicion. So there is these are these cloud costs basically that are related to using of a large language model, which then forces us to think about, and we see that already. How about thinking about more targeted models, more trusted models, even open source models. And finally, something which really comes close to our place, models on-prem.
Exactly.
So you see all that kind of shift is happening also because of the cost, and at the same time you are getting targeted, trust, open, and everything else. So this is basically this whole area, which is interesting, making interesting AI.
No, certainly. And I mean, it's across the industry, but in your role as well, you have to think about what we want to do within the Mainframe Software Division, which has also been interesting. I mean, we can't talk about all the changes we've made, but there have been shifts into the models we use, what the pricing is around it, et cetera.
Correct.
And
let me say about that one, I mean, we and Broadcom are actually big users of AI. You know, our developers are using AI models for the code assistant.
Yep.
Right? And with really great results in terms of productivity, but always with a human in the loop. We are very careful on, making sure that that all is checked, double checked, and triple checked, whatever is basically done, or marked, tagged, that is actually generated with AI. And that's actually a smaller part. Where we see most of the value in our own development is really in generating test cases. Mm-hmm. We are also seeing in coverage of test cases. And we see in code understanding, documenting. So these are really kind of low risk areas where AI can help tremendously. Then in second area of engagement, every single of our teams and value streams, how we call it, right?
Yep.
Is actually looking and trying to identify how to embed, how to enable, how to adopt AI in their portfolio of products to make them smarter, faster, better, cheaper, more efficient, because there's definitely potential. And last, and the most important one, I would like to say, most important, our strategy is the following right now as a focus. We want basically to enable our tooling, which is very rich, mm-hmm. very powerful, to be a part of the workflow mm-hmm. that our customers are building on in their shops in agentic AI situation. So whatever customers want to do, we can't know every single case and every single situation that customers would like to use. We can't know which LLMs they are going to use. So what we say is the following. Listen, we are going to enable with APIs, with the tools, with the MCP servers support, we are going to give you opportunity to unlock the value of our tools in terms of the data
that's
and
inside.
actions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just
the actions as well.
We are not only providing data
yes.
that the agent needs. We also are actually acting on it
yes.
as a tool
yes.
that MCP can actually call.
As they want to enable it, of course, because a lot of people take the approach of just read first,
and we absolutely have no preference, whatever you like.
Exactly.
The only thing what we want to say is that we have APIs which are MCP enabled, mm-hmm. okay? That you can call and get information from that. If you want to execute something, go ahead, do that. And by the way, use whatever model you want. Mm-hmm. We don't say use Anthropic or do OpenAI or use this one or Gemini or whatever you want.
Exactly. You have to have that discussion of what you're going to use,
mm-hmm.
but we're giving you the access,
correct,
read write, to what are tools that contain data.
So that's basically the spectrum of our AI engagement in the Broadcom, which it's a plenty.
No, certainly. So, I mean, there are incredible things happening across the industry for all of our customers inside Broadcom. What have you learned from the customer engagements you've had thus far?
So what I have learned is that mainframe is still absolutely the workhorse of the transactional processing in the world. Its role has not been diminished in all these decades that I've been basically playing there. And as a matter of fact, more and more customers are seeing that it shouldn't be really seen as an isolated server, okay? It certainly is world-class, number one transactional server, no question asked. But it shouldn't be really looked at that. It should be looked in a much broader kind of hybrid platform environment, almost like a control plane for that one. Why? Because it's totally open. I mean, APIs to consume the data and transaction mainframes are open. Development for example, through our endeavor and all the
and Bridge Forget, exactly, which we've talked about a lot.
All the things that we are basically doing is 100% modern and the standard, basically, what is used. So whatever you look, how we expose data for open telemetry, wherever you look, this thing is completely standard-based.
Yep, it's not in the corner at all.
It's not in the corner at all. So this is what I'm learning. And of course, what I'm also learning is that customers need our assistance in, as I said, making their journeys into the AI, into the new security thing. For example, we didn't even talk about that, certificate management. It's a huge area where we are basically working big time, our security division. And then the one cool one, which is still coming up, just I would say probably next 2 or 3 years, which is post-quantum cryptography.
Exactly. Yeah, we aim to get Michael Jordan on the show to talk about that, but
that's our top guy.
He's our top guy.
That's our top guy that we can get on that one. I'm so glad that we have him in our team, CTO team.
Certainly. So you mentioned Journey, obviously helping our customers enable all this, but tell us briefly your journey, because you've been a few places around the world. You speak a few languages, and now you've ended up here in Prague, which we love, but you have an interesting past.
Yes. Common denominator really for my career is mainframe, right? So that needs to be said, which is maybe not strange if you look at me and my age and everything else. What else was there when I started? Half a joke, because of course there were some other things, but nevertheless this is how I started, and I was actually everything. I was customer, I was vendor, I was consultant, I was working long time in IBM, now working in a Broadcom, and I was always really trying to make a change myself.
Okay.
And what better change and a more radical change is than to basically change the country or continent or everything of the job. And this is what
I resemble that, yeah.
It's a big change, which in my opinion, I believe the change is almost always productive and inspiring.
Yep.
Not necessarily comfortable. Okay.
No.
And maybe not necessarily comfortable with a family that is around you. So I'm not preaching that everybody should do that, but just saying, my experience is like that. So yes, I started, I was born in Bosnia, I moved to Croatia, after that worked as a customer, then moved to Australia. I actually developed DB2PM, which was the first DB2 performance monitor.
Okay.
And then still, by the way, exists, that product still exists and very successful under Omegamon.
Okay, yes, yep.
Competition now to us, but this is what this. Then I moved to Germany to basically port SAP application switch to mainframe. That was great time, because this is where I realized how important it is to modernize, constantly be on the top in the terms of IT trends. That was really client server at that time. So moving mainframe from a monolithic a box into the client server area, where you can basically you are surrounded by the other servers.
Yep.
And then you work on that. And that's SAP was fantastic driver for that one. So I was really fortunate to be in that team. In the meantime, I got, hired by IBM. So I stayed in IBM in Böblingen lab, which is a very large lab of IBM in Böblingen. In that lab, with my team, I developed IBM DB2 Analytics Accelerator, which is basically bringing analytical workload to the mainframe.
Okay.
And building the first world-class industry leading so-called hybrid transactional analytical processing capability, which is, by the way, in the base of some other products like Datagate and AI Optimizer that is going on. And then basically after that, I was VP for DB2 development and DB2 tools, and but also some non-mainframe spaces like in RegTech and like safer payments and open pages, fintech, and interesting kind of stuff.
Here, there, and everywhere. Yes, no kidding.
And I ended up then at the end as a VP of strategy, as you said, for Z Data and AI. After that, which I retired, and I thought that's it. But you
grew restless.
I really like moving. As I just I like moving, and it was absolutely beautiful. That Broadcom offered me this particular job in this particular time, in this fantastic place of Prague. fantastic place.
You've been enjoying it.
Absolutely phenomenal place.
That's fantastic. So I have kind of two closing questions. One is, as much as you're here in the office with us and at our other Broadcom sites, obviously you're getting out to customers.
Yeah.
Where will customers have a chance to see you the rest of the year?
Or where will I have a chance to
Or
see
where
the customers?
well,
I haven't seen the customers. Well, the one that is coming up relatively soon in October, August, correct, is actually Australia, which is for me kind of
going back home.
And then there's a share in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, so it'd be a share.
Lots of customers and
Excellent.
opportunities to talk to them, various round tables and so on. Then there are two IDAGs, one in the IDAG, which is the International DB2 User Conference. One is Porto, another one is Atlanta.
Okay.
We're going to both of those. Then there's a major Broadcom event, which is the Mainframe Customer Advisory Council and Mainframe Technical Exchange, which we're also here in Prague.
Yes, exactly, which was your first event.
That was fantastic. I had an opportunity to join at that time. But this one is in, I believe, Allen in Texas.
It's Plano, Allen. Yep,
Plano,
exactly. Yeah,
that's right. And then there is also one in Istanbul, another one I like going actually to Turkey, which I just came from last week, which is the Broadcom Summit.
Yeah, to meet with some of our.
And I don't know if I let up, but in the meantime, there are lots of one-to-one engagement with the customers, which I really like. I mean, they are very inspiring for me. And hopefully also useful for the customer as well as our field people, because that's why I exist. So yeah, it's a busy time, but as I said, I like that.
Yep. No, it's the opportunities we have at all levels really to get out to our customers is just phenomenal, because ultimately that's why we do what we do.
Yes, that's why we are here.
So I want to end with an interesting question. I'm going to start asking more of our guests, because there are so many things going on right now. So many developments in technology, the ways we work, everything else, that I sometimes find it difficult to keep focused. So I'm curious, how do you keep focused? Do you have any tricks?
Why do you believe that I'm focused? I would actually like to tell you that it is hard. It is really hard to keep focus. I believe you need to somehow develop the sense of some kind of productive filtering.
Okay.
Because this space is so busy. There's so much noise also, which, by the way, sometimes doesn't lead anywhere. And so if you go and chase this rabbit hole, then you get
and you lose all that energy. Yep.
So I would say probably what helps a bit of experience, so that being around for a while, and then you basically see what could be something. What is that? I would definitely say that AI is the one that you shouldn't lose, irrespective of all the naysayers, doomsday sayers. This will die, balloon will go. All that can, by the way, happen. I have no idea what can happen, but I just know that this technology is absolutely a game changer.
Definitely.
And you better know how to use it, because you will be replaced by those who will use it.
Who do know how. Mm-hmm.
So you know how they say, AI will replace. No, AI will not replace people. People who know AI will replace people who do not know AI. So please do that. Like that one. So that's basically how I do it.
Got it. Okay. That's perfect. Namik, it's been great having you on the show. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everyone, look forward to seeing Namik at a number of events in the near future.
I say thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.